Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Time for a mailbag edition of the show where we answer your questions, whatever you guys have. This comes from our live shows that we do on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, where people send questions to us and we react to them in real time. And so if you're not subscribed to the channel already, you need to be. And when we go live, whether it's for our scheduled live shows or if the Seahawks make a move and we go live, you can submit your questions to us, and we'll react to them. And it is a heck of a time. So go ahead and subscribe today for free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV, and we will get started with today's show. Leonardo with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Leonardo, for that super chat. Coming in, says, what's up, Tyler? What's up, Leonardo? Who should we draft with the 20th pick? I'd love Jaxon Njgiba or JPL with that pick. Well, Leonardo, I'm glad you asked. 3 names to watch at the 20th pick. If Seattle stays at 20, I think there's a pretty decent chance the Seahawks trade back from the 20th pick anyway. But let's say for all intents and purposes, they'd stay at 20. Brian Bresee, Miles Murphy, Lucas Van Ness. Those are the 3 names I am watching for. I like Jaxon Njgiba myself. I think he's the only wide receiver 1 in this class, but I don't think he's going to be around at 20 when Seattle picks. So that's the scenario I see here. Leonardo, that's a fun name to say, Leonardo. But I don't think the Seahawks are going to have a chance to get him there at 20. Isaac writes, if both Carter and Anderson are taken, do you trade down for a ton of picks or what? Isaac, that's a very good question. There's one name to keep in mind besides Carter and Anderson. That's Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. And I think the only way you trade down is if those 2 and Wilson are gone. I mean, if you end up with Tyree Wilson, it's not a situation where you say to yourself, like you're disappointed, but it's not the perfect situation. Like, put it this way, okay? Let's say that you are an ice cream fan, and if you end up with Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, you got the best version of chocolate ice cream, which for me is like a chocolate almond, okay? Now, if you get Tyree Wilson, you've ended up with vanilla ice cream. Vanilla's not bad. It's actually pretty good. But I missed out on the chance to have chocolate almond ice cream, my favorite ice cream. So that's the way I look at it. It's the ice cream analogy. I'll take the vanilla ice cream. I'll be fine, and I'll be more than satisfied. But it could have been better. I could have had chocolate almond ice cream. Tom. Hi, Tom. No disrespect. But why is Dissley still wearing 89? Where's the love for Dougie B? Tom. Well, I like Will Dissley personally. I think Will Dissley's a good football player, and I have no problem with him wearing 89. I understand that Dougie B wore that well and had a good career, but I don't have a problem with Will Dissley wearing 89. I expect Will Dissley to have a pretty decent year this upcoming season. He and Noah Fant, watch out. This should be a good duo there for Seattle. Alan writes, what are the chances Anthony Richardson or Will Levis falls to Seattle at 5 and they take one of them? Well, Alan, if I were to guess at the time of this recording, I think whether it's a move that's made, whatever it may be, more than likely the top 4 quarterbacks go uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Did I get my Spanish right? I got my Spanish right. Okay. That's what I think. I think it goes, right now anyway, that you see Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis go 1, 2, 3, 4. And so they wouldn't even have the chance to get one of them at 5. But there are some different scenarios. If the draft shakes out the way it does, if Arizona stays at 3, that one of them in theory would be there. With that said, I don't see it happening. I think it's Seattle. There's too good of defensive players, and with this team, kind of in a win-now mode of sorts, with the talent that they have on this roster, bringing back, you need to get a guy that can start right now and be an impact player. Geno's fine. He's good enough for next year. You can kick the can on the quarterback later. You can get a quarterback later in the draft, potentially. So I don't think so, but I wouldn't rule it out. Now's your turn to put on your GM hat. To be John Schneider, should the Seahawks take a QB in round one? Y for yes, N for no. S for C, N for no. See what I did there? This is our pit comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Let me know one way or the other. Y for yes, N for no. Charlie the Unicorn. Let's go, Big Papa Seahawk. Draft coverage. 10 out of 10 on the big show. Charlie the Unicorn, you're a real one. I'm excited. I can't wait for draft nights. We're going to be live here. You're giving me an opportunity for free publicity on the channel. We're going to be live during the draft. It is going to be incredible. Thursday night. Going to go live about an hour ahead of time. We'll be live during the Seahawks picks. It's going to be a party. And there's no party like a Seahawks Today party. I can tell you that much. So be here Thursday night. I love doing this for the 12s. You guys deserve it. Should be a fun time. Don't miss. Cam writes, fill up their 90-man camp with XFL, USFL, CFL, along with UFAs. At this point, we need proven bodies, and other leagues provide this experience. Thoughts? Okay, Cam. I got to tell you, I've watched the USFL and the XFL. Shout out to the Seattle Sea Dragons, which sound like the Kirkland brand of the Seattle Seahawks. But nonetheless, I'll never forgive the Sea Dragons for costing me $40 on a bet I made in Vegas several weeks back, by the way. But with that said, I like these other leagues, the XFL and the USFL. I think the intent is to have them as minor leagues for the NFL. I don't know exactly yet of who I would want to fill up those spots, but there is one name in the USFL in particular that does stand out to me. I don't know about the other spots, but Cam, if you're watching some football this weekend, if you're watching the USFL, go watch the Philadelphia Stars and Chase Cookus. This guy, he's cooking, okay? He is something special. He was on like a practice squad this past year. Can't remember which team it was, but that's a guy that intrigues me. He's got the arm talent. He's very accurate. He's a gamer. That's a guy, USFL team player that I would give a shot to in the NFL. King writes in, hashtag Seahawks, will a team surprise us and draft Anthony Richardson in the top 2 picks? I know the Young and Stroud are more polished, but freak athletes like Lamar has a big arm. Could Anderson fall to us? Let's start with the back end of that question. Could Anderson fall to him? Yeah, absolutely. There is a world where all 4 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, and Will Anderson's available at 5. So, yes, that could happen. As far as Anthony Richardson goes, will a team surprise us and draft him in the top 2? So there was a report out earlier this week, that the Houston Texans had kind of soured on C.J. Stroud. That was according to Peter King of Football Morning in America from NBC Sports. Texans, whether they soured on C.J. Stroud or not, doesn't change the need that they have at the quarterback position. So if you're the Texans and you don't get Bryce Young, maybe then you do go Anthony Richardson. Maybe you do go Will Levis at that point in time. So, yeah, that could be possible. All depends on how true those reports are about the Texans souring on C.J. Stroud. Chad Ty 9. What late round sleeper should the Seahawks draft? Chad, thanks for asking. I don't know how much of a sleeper he is necessarily anymore, but Deuce Vaughn out of Kansas State. As a Big 12 football fan, somebody that went to Kansas, his rival school, I've seen a lot of Deuce Vaughn the last couple of years, and he is explosive. He is a maniac. I know he's a little bit small, but he's shifty. He's fast. He is a freak, and I think he's going to have a fine NFL career. I love Deuce. Would love to see him in Seattle. Another name, late round sleeper, I'm surprised he's not getting more love among the quarterbacks in this draft. And I would be very open picking him late and being your number 3 quarterback and groom him and see what you got. Clayton Tune out of Houston. I like Clayton Tune a lot. I think that he is sneaky good and he could surprise some people potentially. So those are some late-round sleepers that come to mind. What say you guys? Name a late-round sleeper the Seahawks should draft. Who's somebody that you'd like to see in a Seahawks uniform that will be available later in the rounds? Tell me in the comments section. Give me a name or two you'd like to see the Seahawks draft. All right, got time for about 1 or 2 more questions here. Let's go to Tyson. Any Gadget player prospects similar to Deebo Samuel available? Very good question. I don't know off the top of my head, Tyson, of anyone that can do the Deebo Samuel thing and be a wide receiver and a running back. To me, that's a very unique skill set. But if somebody comes to mind, I'll get back to you on that, Tyson. But that's a good question. Last one, $5 super chat from David. Thank you, David, for the $5 super chat. What should we do at a nose tackle? I think the Seahawks defensive line, if all goes according to plan, is going to be Jaron Reed, Jalen Carter, Draymond Jones. And that's what that defensive line, that's what that should be. That's what it should look like, but we'll see. Before we wrap up here, what's the Seahawks' biggest need in the draft? Tell me in the comments section. Name it for me what you think the biggest need is for the Seahawks to address. They have several needs to take care of. They're a good team as is, but there's still some work to be done heading into the draft this upcoming week. Tell me in the comments section what the biggest need is for Seattle.